The smiles on people's faces, the eagerness in their voices, how much they want to learn.
Learning how to read and write is something simple that we learned when we were in the first grade and when we were in elementary school. But for them, it's something more. It's something great.
It is reaching out to communities and giving them hope. It is giving them assurance and confidence in themselves, and this is a gift that will last forever.
Jesus calls us to be his examples, and I think that what is being done here is doing just what he wants us to do.
The Literacy Project is divided into different learning circles, and in these circles, volunteers from the community that know how to read have offered up their time to teach those in the community how to read.
There's students of all ages. There's a lot of elderly people, 70 and above, that, you know, they're really enthusiastic about this.
Literacy changes lives in El Salvador in so many ways. One of the examples is that people are just able to read their Bible. They're able to grow spiritually in their walk with Christ. Another example is people just going from town to town. If you can't read, you don't know which bus to get on.
They don't need to be fearful of not finding their way home, of being cheated in the marketplace, of being mocked at a bank. You develop a lot of self-reliance and pride in yourself, knowing that you can go and do what it is that you need to do.
The students are older than the teachers. To see younger generation teach the older generation, to help them complete what they've never done in the past, it's very powerful.
One of the teachers gets out of the bus and has to walk 4 kilometers to get to her classroom and then go back home at night. And that's just so much work just to teach 3 or 4 students, because that's all she had, but those 3 or 4 students are learning how to read, and it's just amazing like how much work they do for that.
I saw a lot of teachers with compassion and patience, and a lot of students that are just like thriving to learn and to just read and write, and I just blew me away.
You teach them and they know. And the beautiful thing is then that passes down to generation after generation. They can then teach their children, who can then teach their children. And it's one of the projects that ideally you really can just solve and fix.
Coming here and meeting people who are in their 50s, who are in their 60s, and talking to them and them expressing how this program has given them hope in their situations where for all of their lives, 50 years plus, they haven't been able to read. They haven't been able to be confident when they go to the bus stops. It's changed my idea because I've only lived 20 years. They've lived 50, 60 years of their lives, unable to do something that I've been able to do since I was barely able to run. And so it's really changed my perspective because now I don't have a figure in fact, but I have a person who by name I could be able to say, I know Ricardo. And he's a man who is dedicated to learning how to read, to help his family, who I met, to be a part of his community, which I was in, and to better himself. And so that he may be able to accomplish the visions and the dreams that he had, which he shared with me.
Food and water and all these other causes that we hear about are so necessary. But I believe that literacy is such an important cause because it is so permanent. You can feed somebody for a temporary time, but teaching somebody to read is something that they're going to be able to take with them for the rest of their lives.
To encourage their self-esteem, to build them up. And that is what Christ did. And then time after time after time, Christ, when he comes to the people, he says, fear not, because his whole purpose was to give hope. And it's amazing that this is hope for humanity, because that's exactly what Christ came to do.
They showed me their drawings and the math they were doing. To me, it was all like, I learned this when I was 7, and they're learning this when they're 28, when they're 83. It shows us that simplicity can mean so much to someone. It's simple work for us, but to them, it's their key to making a better life.